Welcome to Current Conversations, a podcast imagined by Be Alive and Rivers Are Life, where we discuss freshwater systems, the important role that rivers and watersheds play in our world, and how educating conservationists leads to a healthier planet. Thanks for joining us for this week's episode and for being part of a ripple of action that is creating change. I'm Ariel Roth, community manager and co-host of our show.
And I'm Julie Orjeski, impact manager and your other co-host. Today we're reconnecting with Cash Daniels, aka the Conservation Kid. With the help of his mom, Erin, Cash has accomplished a lot at just age 14. He works to reduce fishing waste with his monofilament bins, runs his own grassroots aluminum can recycling program, and educates countless students and young people about the role they play in environmental protection. He does all of this while advocating for pollution reduction and wildlife across many platforms.
Cash is also a children's book author, Time Kid of the Year finalist, Cox Conserves hero, and 4Ocean ambassador. You might know him from the Rivers Are Life film The Conservation Kid, which was named after him. Since the film's premiere, we've continued to work with him at film festivals and supported his efforts to install more monofilament bins to collect fishing waste. Let's get into it. So, Cash, your passion for environmentalism and sustainability, the outdoors, all of that sparked at a very young age, and it's truly an inspirational story. But what exactly did spark that passion around the age of 3?
Just my love for the environment. I've always loved animals since I was extremely young. I went to the aquarium a lot. It was basically my second home. We had memberships every year, and my passion for conservation started when I was about 7, when I found a plastic straw on the beach. And once I found that straw, I wondered if there could be more trash where I lived in Tennessee, because I found it on the beach. And I went home and I found that there was still trash there, and I did a lot of research. And I found out that 80% of all ocean trash came from rivers, and that the Tennessee River in general was the most polluted with microplastics than any other river tested in the entire world.
That's wild. Yeah. And you mentioned, the aquarium playing a role, finding plastic on a beach near you. I wonder if you could talk about, because I love Chattanooga, I love Tennessee, I love the Tennessee River. What has it been like working on this within your community? We know your mom, Erin, she's great. It seems like you have a lot of support. What has that support meant to you? What has that been like?
Most everybody I've met has supported my work. All my friends, my family, everybody has really helped me in what I do. I really haven't had anybody I know not support me or not come out on cleanups. There are a couple people online that haven't, but mainly everybody I know has. And it's nice to know that people support the environment, because that's what we need. We need people to love the environment, because you can't protect what you don't love.
Yeah, and going off of that, you are a really strong supporter in the belief that kids are really who will make a change in this world, and we agree. And you are parts of huge communities and driving kids to learn more about conservation. What actions have you witnessed with all the programs you're involved in, or just changes you've seen through that?
Yeah, some things that I've seen that have really inspired me to keep going is just the amount of kids that I've seen really fall in love with nature and the environment. I go talk to schools all the time, and they love going out on cleanups. I go to schools a lot. I'm actually going to one in a couple weeks, going to Silverdale Baptist Church close to me. I go there a lot. And going to talk to younger kids there, because they're the ones that are going to inherit the planet. They're the ones that are going to have to make up for all of our mistakes and using plastic and just trashing up the planet.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I love the idea of bringing kids in, and kids from all different age groups. Because what's like the youngest age group you've worked with?
Well, I'm going to talk to kindergarten in a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
I've talked to really, really young people. I just work with one of my friends. Her name's Liddy. She's 9, and she's working on ocean conservation, teaching other kids about this. As long as you're getting in conservation, in nature, it doesn't matter how old or how young you are, you can make a difference.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's interesting you mentioned ocean conservation, because there's so many things that you can be connected to when it comes to protecting waters. It can be beaches, it can be out in the middle of the ocean, it can be rivers, it can be lakes, swamps, like whatever it is that pulls you in. There are probably efforts that are already underway to protect it that you could get involved in. But could you tell us a little bit about Chattanooga and the Tennessee River and the local impacts of your work there?
Yeah, in Chattanooga, I've had I know a lot of people who have already started conservation and have helped me. And like I said earlier, the Tennessee River was the most polluted with microplastics than any other river tested in the entire world. And I've heard stories from people that have lived here way before me that it was a really nasty city with all the fog and fumes we were putting up with factories and stuff. But that has all gone away, and we live in a very beautiful city. I know a lot of people who are very aware of the environmental impact that they're making. I know friends in legislator, my friend Greg Vital, he's the state representative for where we live. He goes out on cleanups with me all the time. And I really try and get government involved and see what they're voting on instead of them just seeing a picture on a screen.
And going off of the Chattanooga River, you have been part of a huge project just locally that has now expanded like countrywide, but creating your monofilament bins that are geared towards collecting fishing line. Can you explain that to listeners who maybe haven't read about you before or seen anything or watched our film, The Conservation Kid? And also talk about the impact they've had on collecting fishing line.
Yeah, so I've put maybe 160 of those out now in four states, Tennessee, Michigan, Florida, and Georgia. And they've collected about 4,000 miles of fishing line. And I placed those when I saw there was a bunch of fishing line out on the Tennessee River. Because where I live, we have a bunch of fishing tournaments here, and we have a bunch of fishermen who just love getting out on the river and fishing. And I wonder why they didn't recycle or sustainably get rid of their fishing line because they love the environment, they love getting out in nature. And that's when I decided to put these up around docks, popular fishing spots, and the reception has been very well. We've obtained a lot of fishing line and a lot of support from that, and people use them a lot.
Right. And for those who may not know, so the fishing line, once you put it in these bins, you or somebody comes and empties the bins, and then the line gets mailed back, right, to be recycled, to be discarded of sustainably, correct?
Yes, I send it to Berkeley Fishing, and they make these fishing habitats out of it. So you put it off your dock, you can go out there, catch fish, or they're basically these boxes about like 5 feet in diameter each side, and there's these little holes inside, and it's hollow inside, so people can like fish there, and the fish can live there. I don't know how many of those have been made out of the fishing line, but I have shipped a lot of fishing line back, and they've made a lot of them.
That's really cool. I like your approach to that, where it wasn't creating a whole new system for disposal. It wasn't, necessarily making this big, challenging thing. It was just, you see a problem, a solution already exists, where with Berkeley recycling the line, and you just had to connect the dots. Like, you just had to make it easier for those who went fishing to get the monofilament in the disposal, and then you would take care of the rest. I like that you just kind of like inserted yourself into that process and helped both groups along the way. But that can't have been the easiest thing in the world. You make it look easy now. I know you're out there all the time picking them up, but what are some of the challenges you faced within this monofilament bin program, but also throughout the rest of your work? What are the challenges you faced, and how do you stay motivated? How do you push through them?
Yeah, some of the biggest problems that I face is that I can't drive yet, and my mom has to drive me everywhere. I haven't faced many problems. It's just that I'm not 18 yet, and I can't drive myself. I can't do some of the things adults can do, but I have had people help me with those. Yeah, just getting in contact with some people, that's sometimes hard, but I do my research and I find out who I can contact and when I can meet up with people.
That leads into a great question, though, because I'm sure that there are a lot of youth who do want to get more involved or, create more of a difference, but they cannot drive. They might not have that support system, and you really, again, believe that the youth is a huge aspect of changing the environment. So what role do you think that they play in the environment in challenging the issues we currently have both locally and globally, and how they can kind of offset some of those challenges you may face as well?
Well, one thing they can do to help is just get out there, clean up trash wherever you go. If it's in a parking lot, a stream close to where you live, and just don't litter. Just be conscious of the impact that you always have on the environment because every action has consequences. That's why I always pick up trash wherever I go. I try not to use plastic because I know that that will have consequences in the environment. Yeah, just try and get people involved. If that's just telling them don't use plastic, don't use a straw, and your impact doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to go to a different country, pick up trash. You don't have to go on these big news channels. Every little bit you do helps.
Yeah.
For sure.
I have no doubt about that. With, hopefully more and more people will start to take action like you. They'll be inspired by your story and others. What is your hope for not just the future of environmental conservation as a whole, but also for future environmentalists? So people like you who may want to get into this field, what are your hopes for them?
My hopes for everybody who wants to get into conservation is that you don't let anybody discourage you. You will get out there and do what needs to be done. And if somebody says you can't do it, get out there and prove them wrong.
It's good advice.
I know, I like that. That's so motivating.
Yeah, on tons of aspects of life. So if listeners want to follow along with you, if they want to keep up with your projects, any of that, as we get ready to wrap this up, where can they follow you at or find information on you?
My Instagram is the Conservation Kid. I also am the co-founder of the Cleanup Kids, and you can go to the cleanupkids.org to sign up, be a Cleanup Kid. We tackle all kinds of issues on there, from climate change, overfishing, pollinators, all kinds of things. You can go there, sign up, and just anything you can do helps.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cash. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.